Triple bottom line, financial markets. So I had a recent podcast, actually probably more than one, because I've discussed elements of this in different podcasts, how we're moving from more of a shareholder only, Milton Friedman saying that financial duty to shareholders is the only company's only responsibility, to stakeholders. So Mark Benioff famously in Salesforce's financial return has been amazing. I think 3,500% or so return over a number of years. He's been one of the leading proponents, but many others have joined the movement in terms of you can call it the triple bottom line, the environmental, the social. Benioff talks about how Salesforce is concerned with investors, but they're also concerned with employees, they're concerned with community, they're concerned with partners, and that, the key to financial performance in the future, and even CEOs keeping their jobs, is keeping all the stakeholders happy. So, for example, Salesforce, they spent hundreds of millions of dollars on their communities and on giving away their software to free to nonprofits. So the general concept, how does this apply to financial markets? Well, as companies, and obviously, you even hear all the presidential candidates tripping over themselves to talk about, a new form of capitalism that, is more expanded, that includes more people, that addresses the income inequality gap. So if you're looking for one of the macro trends, that this idea of expanded capitalism, of the financial interests affecting humanity, and also the technologies of the future, expanding technology. I talked about this in the fifth industrial revolution, when the tools of the fourth industrial revolution, AI and others, are used for social good and for humanity. That's called the fifth industrial revolution. So how is this going to apply to financial markets? Well, as companies are becoming, more and more companies are talking about their carbon footprint. That's part of it also. As more and more companies become aware of stakeholders and environmental factors and social factors and the triple bottom line, then financial markets and financial analysis is going to have to be broadened as well to take these factors into account. So already, analysts, they look at news, they look at some look at social media and sentiment, but to be a good stock analyst in the future is going to have to go way beyond technical analysis to actually understanding sustainability, environmental theory, social impacts, relational impacts that relate to how people are impacted, psychology, maybe even anthropology, sociology. So I'm not saying that financial markets are going to get away from numbers, but financial markets are going to have to be increasingly almost into the social sciences, perhaps even the humanities, to understand how companies are being impacted. Because as companies move from just a single bottom line to a broader set of metrics, like Andrew Yang, for example, in addition to the universal basic income, he's talked about quality of life metrics, and other people have as well, beyond GDP, because not everybody owns stocks, but other measures such as lifespan and quality of life and mental health and things like that, those may be better judges of how well society is doing, and increasingly how well companies are doing. So when I talk about the triple bottom line of financial markets and financial analysis, it means that people are going to have to move beyond a quantitative understanding and analysis to become experts in these other areas, including sustainability, psychology, and other fields.